Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, by email. Today, we're discussing a model launched in 2015 in anticipation of the 35th America's Cup, celebrating Omega's relationship with Emirates Team New Zealand. This is the Omega Seamaster Diver 300-meter ETNZ chronograph, 44 millimeters in titanium. The watch is 17.6 millimeters thick by 51.7 millimeters lug-to-lug with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. It is a big watch, but all in sapphire, ceramic, and titanium. It is a very light watch. So aesthetics are really going to determine whether or not you want to wear this watch, because on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it looks oversized, but I can tell you it is very light and comfortable. Titanium is also hypoallergenic, so if you have a nickel allergy and some steels are no good for you, this is a great solution. But again, it is a thick watch at almost 18 millimeters. It's not sliding underneath the cuff. It's fairly broad across the wrist, and I probably wouldn't recommend it for a wrist smaller than 15 centimeters circumference on aesthetic basis alone. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, it's nicely made. This strap is bespoke to the model, and you can see it conforms to both the slope of the lugs and the curve of the case, so it's highly integrated with no daylight showing between case and strap. The striation both echoes the design of the Emirates vessel. If you've seen the sails of these America's Cup yachts today, they're almost more aircraft than they are sailing boats, but you will notice that striation as the fibers that are used are high technical fibers adopted from aerospace and Formula One. And now you can also see that there are two colors here, black and red, Emirates Team New Zealand syndicate colors. It's very, very flexible and so very supple on the wrist. You can see more of that fiber design inspired by the sails on the underside of the strap. You'll also appreciate that there is a full deployant clasp. It's a combination of satin and polish, grade 5 titanium, and you will appreciate as well that it is a minderless system. So there are no strap minders here. You know, see how there are no loops? Those little strap minder loops here, you can see them on my Zin. You don't need them here because the excess length tucks underneath the clasp, and then it buckles, it closes, it's clean. You can also see that it's twin trigger release, so it can't pop open by accident, and that's a reassuring refinement on a substantial sports watch that's going to see an active lifestyle. Taking a look at the case, you can see it's all satin finished titanium. It features the professional style profile that we've known on Seamaster and Speedmaster cases since the first half of the 1960s. So you have those lyre style lugs as well as the expanding bevel at the lug tips. It's all satin though, so it's anti-reflective. The idea being to reduce glare if you are using this watch in the heat of the moment in regatta. Now you can see, although we do have shoulders for the chronograph pushers, they're not actually screw downs. They're just there to protect the pushers themselves, so you can always use the chronograph system at a moment's notice without having to screw out the shoulders. You can see there's a coaxial pusher in the helium escape valve because this is based on a Valjoux 7753 architecture, which takes the 7750 and slides its counter around counterclockwise 90 degrees. You lose the quick set, so you actually use that little pusher that's inside the helium escape valve to set the date. Helium escape valve for saturation divers. This is a unidirectional rotating bezel ISO 6425 diver. In addition to being a regatta chronograph, it is a dive watch. So you have that helium escape valve for saturation divers who need to release helium from the inside of their watch as they ascend. The timepiece is 300 meters water resistant. It has a unidirectional rotating bezel with a sharp knurling that makes it a little bit easier to grip than some of the diver 300 meters. You can quickly and easily line up the luminescent pearl with the skeleton style white varnish minutes hand, and now you have an impromptu 0 to 60 minute count up timer, so you can time two events concurrently with the chronograph. Of course, we have this Bond style Seamaster design. The Diver 300 meter will forever be associated with James Bond, thanks to its time on the wrist of Pierce Brosnan during his turn as 007. So we have those Bond-style skeleton hands, as they're often known, and the Bond bezel, the Bond lug profile. The Diver 300 meter has been the James Bond watch of the 90s primarily, but we still remember it as the Bond watch, even though for the most part Daniel Craig wears Planet Oceans. The dial is special. As you can see, a combination of white, red, gray, and silver. It features a Ray-Hot outboard against which you can read partial seconds as well as minutes, and then you can see there's a slope featuring Arabic numerals for each 5-minute, outboard of each hour index, applique indices, no printed, and then it is all a matte titanium that's media blasted. You can see titanium just above the cannon pinion, so the outside of the watch is titanium and glare resistant, and so is the matte titanium dial. The timepiece includes a unique calibration of its 30-minute chronograph register. The register itself hasn't changed functionally, but you can see there is a regatta-style 5-minute countdown. So you reset this, and then you start the count, and it begins a 5-minute countdown, which allows you to count from the first alert given to the start of a match, which is a race within a regatta. So you have that 5-minute countdown, and although it is a little unconventional in appearance, you do have a conventional chronograph with a 30-minute register and a 12-hour register and center seconds. Turning it all over, you can see the Emirates Team New Zealand logo, though not a whole lot else, although you're going to realize that this is a highly modified version of the Valjoux 7753, because as a bare minimum, they're advertising an anti-magnetic silicon hairspring and a column wheel conversion rather than the 7753's traditional cam system. So it is a column wheel and a lateral clutch. Instead of a mobile stud index, it is free sprung for durability. Instead of a 44 to 42 hour power reserve, it is a 52-hour power reserve. Instead of a standard Swiss lever, it is a coaxial escapement. And instead of an unadjusted movement, it is 5-position adjusted and a COSC certified chronometer. It is all of those things. So the 7753 becomes the Omega caliber 3330, which is an Omega exclusive, the 31 joule movement being a big upgrade of the traditional 25 joule 7750. So this is a watch for sailors, for divers, for those who like special editions from Omega, for those who are America's Cup fans, as well as for those who want perhaps something that's just different from the innumerable Seamaster Diver 300 meters. This is a very cool and steely titanium watch from Omega. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing. We're back with the America's Cup. Note that the bezel pearl is green, and so it has this differential loom so you can quickly read the bezel against the minute hand at night. Also note that all 3 registers in the chronograph seconds hand fully loomed.